information. We are surrounded by mysteries that refuse to be neatly explained away. And it's that space between belief and disbelief that tonight's conversation begins. Joining me tonight, of course, is my right hand lady, I almost said man, is Raven Knight. Give it up for Raven Knight. Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah. And also, we have a special guest with us, John from Myth and Myth Mullets and say it, God, get it up.
Myths, monsters, and mullets.
Myths, monsters, and mullets.
Can't
Together, we will question not only what we've been told, but what we may have always known deep down. So dim the lights, quiet the room, and stay with us as we step once more beyond the veil of the ordinary to all things paranormal Sundays. John, sir, thank you for being here.
No problem. No problem. And don't feel bad. Alan from Nevermore is one of my best friends, and he still can't get myths, monsters, and mullets right.
It was right there. It's in my head. I'm like, I don't know, man. I froze because you're such an intimidating guest. We're glad to have you. You're huge.
So
You got like 23 million or something. What was it?
Not even close. But hey, let's tell everybody. I got 23 million subscribers.
He does.
I thought it was 23
Eventually.
and a half. You're being polite. I appreciate that, man.
I'm from the future, and in the future, I have 23 million subscribers. I came back in time to do the show.
That's amazing.
So nice.
Thank you for being here.
For
That
your
was a
time,
long
man. I
trip.
appreciate that.
I was going to say, don't feel bad, John, because, I've known Gabriel for a good year now, and he keeps saying I'm 3'2", you know?
Yeah, I heard.
Sometimes she's 3'7". She stands on a hill. It's fine.
I stand on my tippy toes pretty well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, Raven, why don't you take it away? We have a very special guest. You're always the one that's very inquisitive. I got some questions. You've got some questions. So let's have at it. What do you think?
Well, first of all, we were just on John's show, which was amazing, by the way. So thank you, John, for letting us be on your show.
No
I can't wait
problem.
to do that. That was really fun. So we're doing a little back-to-back double feature or double, I don't even know. Double, is it a feature if you're doing an audio? I think so.
It's a feature when we're involved.
It most
I love
certainly
this
is.
for us.
Yes.
I love this for us. I actually just want to get your background because I know a little bit about you, but not very much. So I would love for our listeners, our audience to get to know you a little bit better. We do a paranormal show. I know you're a little bit more on the cryptid. And the cryptid side is what I am gathering, but maybe you do a little bit of everything. But how did you get into like the paranormal, the cryptid, the aliens? What was something that brought you into that? I do know that you had your own personal experience in 2021, but was there something that happened before that, or was that your first one? I guess we'll start there.
Well, actually, before April 2nd of 2021, I was a complete skeptic on the paranormal.
Okay.
I was, very logical thinking, in my mind. Because I grew up, my focus was science, in high school and stuff like that. I was all about science, and these things could not exist.
Mm-hmm.
And a group of us from work, I live 20 minutes from Randolph County Infirmary, and it's been featured on a lot of ghost hunting shows and things like that. Now, I did have an interest as far as watching those kind of shows, just because it's like it's fun to watch, but I looked at it as, they're probably faking all this stuff for views, but we're like, cool, we'll get this group of guys together and our spouses, we'll go down to Randolph County Infirmary, and we'll do a ghost hunt, okay? And I went in with the mentality, I'm debunking everything. It's just, yeah, I'm going to figure this out, And we ended up having a lot of weird stuff happen that night, culminating with a rock being thrown at me
Oh, wow.
from the darkness, with everybody accounted for on camera. Um, and it was at that moment I'm like, yep, ghosts are real. Um, there's something to the paranormal. And I started like, okay, if ghosts are real, what else is real? So I
Right.
started going down all the other rabbit holes and cryptids and UFOs and everything else. So I think I always thought there UFOs can be real because I just don't I can't see that in this vast universe we are the only ones. You know, there's got to be something else out there. So UFOs, I could get on board with them, but the rest of it before April 2nd, 2021, no, I didn't believe any of it. So, but yeah, that's when I came to the realization this stuff's real.
Wow. So you went from like a complete skeptic to somebody who now does a podcast all about things paranormal. Interesting turnaround there, John.
Well,
How did
I guess I would call it. I guess I would have called it open-minded skeptic. You
you?
know,
Okay.
it was like if this is real, you've got to show me. You know, until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. So, yeah, I mean, there was a healthy amount of skepticism going in. So, but yeah,
Well, John,
Yeah.
if you mind if I ask you a question?
no, go ahead. That's what I'm here for, man.
All right. You think our stories of cryptids and monsters come from cultural imagination, or are they echoes from something real passed down through memory, like warnings in folk?
Yes. No, I
Okay,
mean, I'm being
I
serious.
love that.
Yeah.
You know, when you start looking into, especially like the cryptids, like Bigfoot and stuff like that,
Right.
um, there is a lot of cultural heritage that it's, you know, that's it Sasquatch is part of.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you start talking to Native Americans and hearing their oral traditions.
Right.
You start looking into historical accounts of, you know, wild men, hairy men, things like that. So yeah, I think it's both. I think it is, you know, it's something that's ingrained in us because this stuff has been around forever. And at that same time, you know, it's yeah, it's cultural and it's real. It's real.
Right. I like that answer. So some argue, like myself, that cryptids like Mothman, Bigfoot, or Dogman might not be biological creatures at all, but interdimensional or extraterrestrial manifestations. You lean more towards flesh and blood or something beyond our veil.
Yes.
Your answer, I tell you, I
No,
like
I'm
it.
serious because and I'm not trying to be funny. Um there's too much there's too many reports, too much evidence for both. So until we have one on the table, everybody's
Mm.
right.
I-
Everything, I mean, you can tell me that Bigfoot is created when elephants fart. I don't know. You could be right. Um you know, so until we have one that we can study, any of the cryptids, you know, every theory is valid.
That's actually a very well thought out answer. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've been
Well,
thinking all day about elephant farts.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, so hey, just you occupy your time. That's awesome. You know.
Yeah.
no, I was going to say, like, think about aliens. You know, you're talking about how the universe is so vast. How could we be the only thing that is existing in this universe, right? It could be the same, and this is my argument for Bigfoot. You know, you go to a place that has not quite been explored yet. You go to a very wide, like, there are forests out there that humans are not really in. We don't know what is in those forests, you know? So, like, my argument for Bigfoot would be we don't know exactly 100% what's out there. We don't know what's out in the universe. We don't know what's in the ocean for sure. And we might not know what's in the forest. So, like, cryptids for sure could also exist. It's because we don't see them does not mean that they don't exist. you could apply that to
I
pretty
think
much
that there is a I think that there is a um, because most people live in cities, they live in
anything.
these highly populated areas. They think that that's how the entire world is. That
Right.
there's
Hmm.
concrete and roads and there's electricity and Wi-Fi signals and you know
Mhm.
because we as a culture have gravitated towards these cities, whereas 200 years ago we were spread out and and if we were still in that mindset right now, we would probably be seeing a lot more of these encounters.
It's a good answer,
Do you
John.
Do you think that as because we know that when we do this with like animals, like bears and deer, they all start to come more into the cities because we're kind of reaching out further.
Approach it.
Do you
Yep.
think that it would happen eventually? Like we would get more cryptid encounters because we're going further into these places and building in those areas? If that makes
It's
any sense?
happening now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's dogman reports in inside city limits of Indianapolis. You know,
So we're going to
um, a-
Indiana. Okay.
you're going to Indiana?
No, we are now.
Yeah.
The dog man.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Indiana and Ohio are weird places. I'm telling you. And
Right.
if you want to come down, and I will take you to some weird places.
Well,
I'm
we
in.
feed off of a weird, so thank you for that. This is more
I
of
don't
fear.
have any. I will say this: I don't have any places where um, there's a weird guy with coffins in his basement drinking blood. I don't have that.
Well,
You
have
know
you
Um,
us.
talked to all your
but
neighbors
you
yet?
guys could probably find him.
Yeah,
We might.
So this is a fear versus curiosity. Right? Many encounters begin in fear. The shadows in the woods, the abduction at night. Do you think fear is the intended response, almost as if they feed on it, or is fear just our primal reaction to the unknown?
I think it depends on the creature. Um, I think that there are beings that could possibly exist that do feed off emotion,
Mhm.
pheromones, whatever. If they're flesh and blood creatures, I think then you're right that it's just an instinct. It's something built in. It's that uncanny valley, especially with something like Bigfoot. It's something that looks almost like us, so it makes it terrifying. You know,
Hmm.
What has been your most terrifying encounter, other than you said in 21? Was that the only one that terrified you, or is that something that just got your curiosity?
no. So when I started looking into Bigfoot and things like that,
Mhm.
um, I started. I think where most people land when they start listening to podcasts on the subject of Bigfoot. I ended up on Sasquatch Chronicles, listening to
Oh yeah,
Wes,
yeah.
and I'm listening and I'm binging, Sasquatch Chronicles because he's got like I don't know 6,000 episodes or something. I know that's not right, but it seems like it. Um, but anyway, I'm listening to Sasquatch Chronicles and he plays the Ohio Howl, and I never heard the Ohio Howl before because I'm just starting to listen to, get into this stuff. And I heard that recording and like the hair stood up on my arms because I had heard that before.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
A little backstory on me. I grew up in a small town in Ohio. Um, my grandparents raised horses and we spent our summers horseback riding and camping in Southeast Ohio, mainly at a place called Tar Hollow State Park.
Nice.
It's not far from Hocking Hills, which a lot of people that are into Bigfoot know what about Hocking Hills. Um, and that is a very, now I know this, it's a very Sasquatch hotspot, you know.
Mhm.
But again, I didn't believe in Bigfoot or any of this stuff back then. I would have been, I've told this before. I didn't write any of this down. I can't tell you how old I was when this stuff happened because I didn't believe in this stuff.
Right.
But I remember it happening. I just passed it off as weird. So, um, my grandparents had like an old Winnebago motorhome. Okay. My bed was the bunk above the captain's chairs. So it's hot in there.
Right.
Summertime, it is smoking hot up there. Well, if it wasn't supposed to rain, I would make a bed in the horse trailer. I would take, a tarp or whatever and some blankets and put out some bales of hay, and that's where I would sleep. Well, there was one night I woke up and I know what time it was only because my grandpa yelled at me for waking him up this time, and we'll get to that. It was around 2:00 in the morning. I woke up because I heard what I thought was just like this really weird tornado siren. And I'm laying there listening to it, and it sounds like a tornado siren, but not a tornado siren, if that makes sense. Like it didn't have the same, tornado siren. It goes up, it goes down, and it goes up, and it goes down. This went up, 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 and then like cut off. And I'm like, what is this? And we'd listen to the radio to make sure it wasn't supposed to rain, because I would do that. This is long before cell phones. I'm old, people. Okay. You couldn't just pull up your app and check the radar. You listen to the radio and make sure it wasn't supposed to rain. So I'm like, well, what's supposed to rain? What is that? And it cuts off. And I'm like, okay, weird. I lay there for a few minutes and it happens again. And I'm listening to it and I'm like, there's one town that's like, it takes you 20 minutes to drive to. This is coming from the opposite direction. This is coming from like the center of the park. So it does it again and it cuts off. And I'm like, what is this? It doesn't sound right. Lay there, and I think I was getting ready to go back to sleep because it didn't happen for a few minutes. And it happens again. I'm like, okay, if this is a tornado siren, maybe they have one. There's a fire tower in the middle of the park. I was like, maybe they have one there that I just didn't know about. But if this is a tornado siren, then I need to wake everybody up. We're on, campers and stuff like that, So I throw my blanket off. It's already stopped for the third time. I start going back in to go into the camper, and I hear it a fourth time. So I get in the camper and I'm trying to find the radio. And my grandpa wakes up, looks at his watch, and is like, "Why are you waking me up at 2:00 in the morning?" And I tell him, I'm like, I'm hearing a tornado siren. I want to check the radio. And nothing. No rain. They're calling for clear skies or whatever. And my grandpa said, "You dreamt it. Go back to bed." So I did. It was weird. I didn't hear it anymore after that, but but that it just went to the back of my brain. It was just something weird that happened. And then when I heard that recording on Sasquatch Chronicles, it came back. It was like, that's exactly what I heard.
Was it more the whooping cry? Is that the one that you're talking about?
No, it's like a yell.
Okay.
It's like, oh, just went up, 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 and then shut off.
That must be terrifying.
Wow.
As a child, I'd be terrified.
I would guess at that time I was probably maybe 12, 13 years old.
Yeah, but still 12, 13 years old, I'd be terrified of that.
Oh yeah. But again, even if I knew I'd heard of Bigfoot. Right. But even at that point, that would have been, if it exists, it's out Pacific Northwest, California. This is Ohio. Nothing happens in Ohio. Wrong.
Wow. That's crazy. That's a crazy story. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's not.
What
Yeah, JD says not far from Point Pleasant. It's really not. As a crow flies, it would take you a while to drive there, but it's not that far. You know.
So are you somebody who then, I mean, after having like, I mean, that was an old experience, but then you had your other experience and now have been a little bit more into this field. Do you have certain cryptids that you don't think would be possible at all? And then some that you're very convinced do exist?
I have another encounter,
Oh, I love this. Okay.
but I would rather not tell this on live.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's been recorded several times, me telling the story. I get emotional when I tell it, so
No,
I'd rather
absolutely.
not do that on live.
I definitely get that.
So because of what I have seen, um, the the experience I had left physical evidence, which I have pictures of. Um, I know that cryptids exist. Um, if what I saw exists, anything's on the table. Um,
That's fair.
if somebody sees something, and and I get a lot of people on my show that you can tell by the emotion
Mm-hmm.
whether what they're telling you is true. Um, so if I interview somebody and you can tell they're not reading a script, they're not making the stuff up on the fly, and there's emotion in their voice, um, I can't rule out anything, you know, and would be happy to come on your show and a recorded show and tell you my encounter. I would just rather not do it on live, if that's okay.
That's fair.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
for
We definitely can appreciate
For
that.
sure, that's totally fair. Um, I do want to check though, like, so you did mention, you started your show, you started your podcast, and just in November, right, of last year. So you're coming
Yes.
up on a year. What made you want to start this podcast? And I know one of the things about the podcast is having people come on and tell their stories. What was the drive? What got you to this point where you wanted to open this up for people to be able to tell their stories?
So let's talk about meth and camp. Okay.
Let's do that.
My real name is John Fike. Okay. I go by the moniker John Methenkamp. So that same group of guys that we went to the Randolph County Infirmary with, one of the guys brought in a fake mullet to work. And we started, passing this mullet around, taking pictures, being goofy. And um, it ended up, somebody called me. Okay. When I was younger, I dated a much older woman. Okay. So I
Okay.
had the moniker of Cougar Hunter. Okay. That's what the guys at work were calling me, Cougar Hunter. Okay.
Love it.
Um, so I put the mullet on, and the guy calls me John Cougar Hunter Mellencamp. Well, I don't know if you noticed, I'm missing 2 teeth. Okay. One of them chipped and broke and fell out. The other one, I had a baby tooth till I was 36 and it fell out. Okay. I just haven't got it fixed. I don't care. I'm 49. I don't care. So I was like, it's more like Methenkamp. So that's how the name came about. So I started doing all these comedy videos where I came up with this whole backstory on who John Cougar Hunter Methenkamp was. He's a ladies' man that's kind of stuck in the 80s, chases after older women, and the older women love him. And I've created this whole universe of John Cougar Hunter Methenkamp. And I started TikTok for John Cougar Hunter Methenkamp. I gained 11,000 followers through comedy.
Wow.
And so I was content doing that. And it was around the time that I started we did the ghost hunt. So it was around that same year when I started doing the comedy. One My wife and I, we like to camp. We primitive camp. I sleep in a hammock, she sleeps in the tent because she's a wimp. She might slap me after this, but it's okay. I make fun of her all the time on my lives, so anybody that's in here that knows me, they know she's a good sport. She'll take it. But anyway, so one night she went to bed, and I'm like, I've got my camera, I got my phone, I got my tripod. I'm gonna set up and do a live around a campfire. I'm like, it'd be cool to do paranormal encounters around a campfire.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I set up and I went live. I'm like, hey, anybody got a paranormal encounter they want to share? Well, it took off. Like people started coming in every time I'd go live to tell their paranormal encounters. Weather got colder. We stopped camping. I started doing it on my couch. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. You know, I'm getting a lot of traction from people telling their paranormal encounters. So I want to separate the comedy from the paranormal. And I start doing my lives without the mullet. And the first question everybody asks when they come in, where's the mullet? So I'm like, well, I guess the mullet stays. And so I end up going to the Ohio Bigfoot Jamboree last year. That's in Ada, Ohio, which is coming up on October 4th this year, where I will be. But anyway, I went there and I went as Methancamp. I was acting like Methancamp, you know, because in my backstory, he's into cryptids and paranormal. So, you know, I was using it as an opportunity, you know, just act like Methancamp at this Bigfoot festival, you know, whatever. I meet Alan and Chris from Nevermore Hollows. We strike up a friendship. Even afterwards, you know, I'm messaging and talking to him. And I'm still doing the paranormal lives. And that's all I was calling it, was paranormal lives. Well, Alan and Chris, they both came into my lives at some point. And, you know, we're talking paranormal and stuff like that. And Alan's like, dude, you're doing all the work. Just start a podcast. You're doing a podcast, but you're not putting it out there. So I did, and came up with the name Myths, Monsters, and Mullets. It kind of rolled off my tongue, unlike Gabriel's. And yes, I started it. It started out just being replays of my lives and the guests that I would get in there. At the first of last year, at Christmas time, I ended up upgrading my system, and I started doing one-on-one interviews. And now it's basically, I mean, I still do my lives. I do them a little different now. Everybody's been watching. The last few lives has been more this style, like what we're doing here. I'm not taking guests like I was before, or, you know, random guests, but now it's just like most other encounter shows. Guests come on, tell their encounters, and I take anything, you know, whether it's ghosts, cryptids, UFOs. I've had demonic possession. What else? And then I also, because it's my show and I'll do what I want. I have independent horror filmmakers come on, you know, actors, actresses, directors, things like that.
Very cool.
And you know, it helps if they've had a paranormal encounter,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so I can say I can shoehorn it in there. I don't care. But yeah, that's what Myths, Monsters, and Mullets is.
You're an
Love that.
interesting man, John. Thank you for all that, man. So, on aliens, do you mind if I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
If extraterrestrials are visiting, do you think they're explorers, scientists, are something more unsettling, kind of like farmers tending to humanity like a crop.
So, okay. I've always, in the past, I always thought it was one of those things like they're here studying us, you
Right.
know, maybe they're probing us for information as far as like our weaknesses and stuff like that before they take over. Um, but I was talking to Rod from Lodge Tales podcast. He is a member of the Blackfoot tribe, and we got on this subject, and he said something that kind of makes sense to me. He, they believe that, or he believes that they are us. Okay, they have advanced so far in technology that they've gotten away from spirituality, that they've come back, they've found this planet where there's still some spirituality left, and that's what they're studying. That's why they're
Mm.
going to places like Indian reservations and, away from the big cities where there's not much spirituality.
A lot to that.
Wow.
And I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. So could it be? I don't know. I'm not like, nobody's an expert in this stuff. But when he told me that, it was like, man, that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because we're just talking about more of the rural areas, do you think with all the technology that we have available to us, do you think real concrete proof is going to happen soon?
I think it's already out there.
Okay.
I think the problem is the technology, because now no matter what you post on the internet, it's AI,
Yeah.
it's faked, it's
Absolutely.
photoshopped,
Right.
that's somebody in a suit, nobody is going to accept video, photographs or audio anymore. It's not going to happen, but I think there's plenty of proof for a lot of this stuff out there. It's just, it gets lost because as soon as you post it, that's fake. That's fake.
Yeah.
Well, on that is my belief, my personal belief, that the best instrument is literally the human body, because we are programmed to feel uh, flight or fight, right? So we've been in places, Raven Knight and I, that it felt perfectly normal. The Sally House is what I'm referencing, and then all of a sudden, just like a switch, it was different. You walked
Yeah.
upstairs where we just were about 10, 15 minutes ago. It felt comfortable, and you could feel it. There was something depressant there. We sat down and just felt like a completely different environment. It only lasted about maybe an hour or so, but within that hour, you understood that something unique was going on. That even though with all the evidence we're getting, with all the little orbs flying everywhere, it was in that moment you really understood that something unique was happening in the moment. So I believe there's a thinning of the veil that I talk a lot about, and I think the human body can read it. What do you think on that?
I completely agree. I think you always should trust your gut.
Mm.
Um, and that doesn't go just for paranormal, but
Oh, absolutely.
I think that there is a certain level of insight that your body naturally has.
Hmm.
Um, it senses things that you're not even aware of, because you haven't needed to use that. We live in a society where everything is safe and secure, and we don't have to worry about bears ripping us out of our tents. Um, you know, we don't for the majority of the people in, especially like United States. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but for the majority of people, we're not worrying about freezing to death in the winter,
Right.
or anything like that. We've become too soft and don't need those senses, I guess you would call them.
It's a good answer, John. It really is. Um, what else you have there, Raven? I've been
Well, I was going to say, I mean,
but
on
I
that
think you
note,
have better ones I do.
well, I was just going to say on that note, like what you're just talking about, because you use pieces of equipment, we all know that pieces of equipment can fail. Or we all know that something can trigger, like EMF detection or like K2 meters, anything like that. Cat balls. People, I mean, we see so many times in this paranormal field that people are basing everything off of like a cat ball.
JD's cat balls.
You have it right there. I love this. But like, you know, like some certain things like that you can explain away. Or like orbs, for example. Like, I mean, we know the OG doesn't believe in orbs unless we're in a room where there's orbs literally everywhere coming out of a wall that we have on video. But
Well,
you know,
to be
things
fair,
like
he
that.
said he used to not believe in it until that encounter we had outside the Sally house. But we'll get
And
to
then he
that.
went back and said, I don't know. I
All right,
was
go
like,
ahead.
you
I'm
did.
gonna say I am pretty skeptical of orbs.
And as you should be. I mean, I think
I
everyone should
have
be
it has to
skeptical.
be self-emitting light to me. Anything else, if it's on an IR camera, it could be a reflection. I can't I can't with the orbs, man. Now I will say this. I have an episode coming out next Wednesday. Not It'll be the 8th. This person saw a self-illuminating orb in his child's bedroom. That to me
Mm.
is an orb. Okay. I know I've had people send me video of what they thought was like a portal opening.
Mm.
And when you watch the video, because it's from like a Ring camera,
Mhm.
to me, it's a spider web that got in front of the camera, and it does like looks like something just floating across the screen, but then it swings back. So,
Sure.
you know, I think a lot of people jump to, oh, that's an orb anytime they see something on IR camera. But you got to realize bugs, dust, spider webs, stuff like that. There are so many things that you can have the cleanest house in the world. I don't care how much you clean your house. You're going to have dust and there's going to be bugs. Okay. I've
Right.
watched this certain program where the guys who on the show, their shirts are so tight that they get possessed every time they go out.
I
Um,
knew that was the program.
and I'm not going to say their name, but you know, every little thing that they see on the IR camera is an orb.
Right.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Not everything you see is an orb. And that and maybe it's just me. I dismiss 99.9% of orbs. I just
Well, and I think too, you really should be skeptical when you go into this field. I mean, as much I am a lot more of a believer in a lot of things than Gabriel is, but I also think that there has to be a level of skepticism because as much as I want to believe, like I even had that poster on my wall, you know, from the X-Files. I want to believe
the
on the wall
X-Files.
as a child. Yes, this was pre-Amazon days, you know, you had to actually specially order it. But as much as you want to believe in the things, you have to also know there is, or you have to also be able to, not discredit, that's not the word I'm thinking of, disprove, be able to disprove it first before you can prove it right. You know, so I think you should go into any of these situations like it's not everything you see is not gonna, or every orb is not gonna be a spirit. Every knock is not gonna be a ghost. Every
Or
howl
Bigfoot.
might not be a Bigfoot, right? Like you have, but if you go through all the things and then say, okay, we've tested each thing, you as a scientist or liking science should, probably believe this. Okay, we tested everything and nothing makes sense here. That's when you can say, okay, this was paranormal.
On that, me being the skeptic of the program when it comes to Raven and I've been in places that I saw this great big huge white light that flew by me, and I was with somebody else, and I could feel heat on my face. In the Sally house, as OG was sitting there with us, there was literally a lumen. He thought I had a flashlight on me because this orb came out of me, and it went around a little bit and then went back in. And he goes, "Do you have a flashlight?" And I'm like, "No." So you do have to be skeptical. A lot of them are, 99% of them are just stuff. But there
But
are
to me,
those.
what you're describing isn't just a camera relic. you've got people actually seeing this stuff in real time.
Right.
You know, to me, that's what I want to see. You know, okay, so you saw it in real time and you got it on camera. To me, that's an orb.
Mhm.
Not just when I'm going back through and, you know, a gnat flies past the camera, you know.
You don't go out crazy
One of my
like, "Look at what
favorite
I got." Right.
one of my favorite arguments that people use for orbs is like, well, we're in a house. There's no wind. Why was it going sideways? I don't care. it you got to know fluid dynamics. You know, even in a completely still house, the air is still moving. You know, you move your arm and the air moves. So there are subtle drafts. There's, you know, there's things, and the air is not all flowing in one motion in an enclosed space. It's swirling. It's doing different things. So you're going to see orbs going in different directions because dust does that. Watch a beam of light in your living room from the sunlight coming in. You're going to see dust going all different directions. So
Yeah.
I'm preaching. I'm sorry.
No, you're doing great. No, you're doing great. I
No,
think
this is
people
great.
need to dismiss and discredit certain things so we actually find out what's real and what's not. I think you have to.
Exactly.
Because when
And then
everything's
that's-
real, nothing really is. You know?
Yep.
At the end of the day, we're all just trying to search for the answers. I mean, we're
Mhm.
probably never going to get maybe any solid proof or any solid answers, but I mean,
I'm
doesn't
going
that
to.
then? Okay, you know what? I'll take that back. That was negative of me. We're going to get all the answers. We're
That's
going to
right.
find Bigfoot.
Maybe I already
And
did.
I don't want to be on a UFO. Actually, I'm good. But
Larry does. I mean, Parachum
Larry
does.
definitely does. Oh my gosh, he really does. He's all about that. But we have,
He needs a shirt that says "Probe me."
Oh, so you know about that too, huh, John?
I will make him a t-shirt that says, "I was probed and I enjoyed it."
I got
It's
probed
all
and all I got was
interesting.
this shirt.
That's great.
It's all Parachum ever talks about is getting probed.
First time I met him.
Out of the refrigerator, you know?
Literally, I went on their show, and the first time I met Larry, I was giving him so much shit. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. I think I told him then. You just want to be probed. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
I think so. That's amazing. That is amazing. Okay. All right. I'm glad we all know this about Parachum now. And now everyone does. All of our listeners know.
You're a good man, Parachum. You're a good man.
We do love him. We do. You asked us a question when we were on your live, so I kind of want to throw the same question back at you. Is there a place that you would love to investigate yourself?
So I'm going to go. My focus really is the cryptids. So I want to go to Land Between the Lakes. I want to go to. That's the big one for me. I wouldn't mind going to Ape Canyon, but JD tried to get there and he about died. So no, I'm not doing that. I'm fat and old.
Oh, don't say that about you.
My mom told me not to lie, so I'm fat and old.
No.
As far as paranormal, as far as ghosts, I don't know. There's so many. Probably Waverly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would totally go to Waverly.
And then as far
So
as
go to
with like UFOs and things like that, I think you still land in Land Between the Lakes for that. Because you got
Okay, so we're going
Hopkinsville
there.
Goblin,
That's
or the
okay.
Hopkinsville Kelly, or was it Kelly Hopkinsville encounter was not far from there.
I think we should
there's-
plan to go there, John.
Well,
in.
We can do a live right from there.
I'm going right now.
let's just.
Let's do
I can't say too much. there is a possibility that next year I will be there. Let's just put it that way.
That's cool.
All right, call me. I'll be there too. I'm serious. Gabriel
You
knows
guys
this.
should
He's
come
like,
down
"You
though. You guys should come down and do Randolph County Infirmary with me.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
We'll get chumming with involved, and
let's
I
do
love
it.
that.
Just give us a time and we'll make it happen, John.
Ooh, JD
the
says
one
Elmwood.
thing
Summer,
we have to book that place well in advance because it's tough to get in.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
So
we do
we've
an
started
event in Elmwood, Wisconsin. Maybe you need to come up for that. It's UFO days. It's a lot of fun. A lot of good folk, you know.
Yeah.
When is that?
Yeah, super fun.
Usually the
Last
last
week
week of July.
Yeah.
We might be able to make that happen. I haven't done anything for scheduling next year yet, so
It's a good
Okay.
time. We had the
Well.
boys chumming at the Spirits Down, and it was fun. Just meeting with people, talking, discussing, and just kind of enjoying the land. It's a beautiful area, rich in
Weird
UFO
area.
history. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
does JD have to come?
no.
well,
Wait, yes. I would never do that to you, JJ.
someone's
Yes.
got
Love
a
you,
lot
JD.
to do, you know.
I have to, so I put in my notes before we started this that you were a big cryptid guy, John, and I believe in Bigfoot. Gabriel over here does not believe in Bigfoot. It's a big thing that we ever, I think almost every single episode we do, there's a thing about how I believe in Bigfoot and he doesn't. And so I am going to put you on the spot a little bit and I need you to convince my co-host over here why Bigfoot's real.
But before you answer that, and I think that's very important, I want you to. I also want her. She left out a part. She also has
I
Jeffrey
know what
Dahmer
you're gonna do.
here.
I knew you were gonna do
From
that.
from his childhood or something. I don't know. So she
We haven't
comes
said
back
that for a
and
long
gets
time.
Bigfoot, and I tell her I don't believe it because of that. But if you can convince me, John, please do, sir.
I think that there's too many eyewitness encounters for it not to be real. Because let's take Sasquatch Chronicles for example.
Mhm.
I think he's up to like 1,200 shows. Okay, he has at least one guest on there every episode, sometimes two. If one person's telling the truth, it exists. They can't all be lying. They can't all be mistaking, a bear. They can't all have been on shrooms. You know what I'm saying? There's too many people that have come forward and have said, I have seen this creature. And I'm not talking about just people that have gone on podcasts. There's historical records of this phenomenon, this creature. It's not only seen in the United States, it's not only seen in Canada, it's seen Asia, it's seen in Australia, it's seen all over the world, and they're all describing basically the same creature. And you're talking about cultures that, we're talking about this creature that didn't have contact with each other. So if you've got a tribe in North America talking about a large hairy bipedal creature that looks pretty much human, and you've got a tribe in Australia that they're describing the Yowie, which is a large hairy bipedal creature that looks like a human, and these people have never met. I mean, we didn't even know there's Aborigines existed until we went to Australia. It wasn't like there was this intermingling of Aborigines and the Blackfoot tribe in Montana, but they're describing the exact same creature. So to me, the witness reports are enough for me to believe in this creature.
And we're quiet. Sorry about that. So I was just all the things you said. So the thing that
I
I
don't
was
think he's convinced.
is if there's going to be a Bigfoot, and there's got to be two, right? There's got to be a mama Bigfoot and a daddy Bigfoot, and then they, they make a call and the stork drops off a baby Bigfoot, and that's just how it goes, right? I mean, right? Evolution.
When two big
You know?
feet love each other.
Yeah, right. Right. But so there's got to be more than one.
Absolutely.
And I think I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe. To me, it's just I have a better understanding that there's technology that's way outclasses us called aliens and they fly around. I can believe that, but something that we keep on infringing in more and more environments, and nobody has one. You know, nobody. You know,
Have you ever went to um, the Pacific Northwest, Alaska, or Canada?
no, but I'd love to.
See, that goes back to what I was talking about earlier. You have a view of our world based on what you've experienced. And until you go to these places where these forests are so vast and so dense that you get out there. I was just in Oregon in July, Oregon and Washington. And even me that has spent so much time in, Kentucky, Tennessee, and the Appalachian Mountains, okay, in these forests, which they're pretty dense. They're nothing like what you see out there. I mean, it is mind blowing. Like you look at a map and you think, oh, that doesn't look like that far of a drive. And it's only like 3 miles on the map, and it takes you 45 minutes to go that 3 miles because you have to go around a mountain. You have to go around this river system. There is so much land west of the Mississippi that if you look at even Google Maps, you can look at it and say, there's no roads for 50 miles. You know, it would not be hard for a creature to hide there. We give ourselves too much credit as to, we're the masters of Earth and we've been everywhere. We haven't. Have there been people that have walked pretty much everywhere on the planet? Yes. But are we there all the time? Absolutely not. We're not. There's places in east of the Mississippi that people hardly ever go to. That's why there's so many missing people. That's why, that's why moonshiners still can moonshine, because there's so many places where you don't have traffic. You don't have people going through them. And every state has national park systems. There is a lot of untapped area that people just don't go to. So
Listen,
I don't know if I convinced you or not, but
I believe there's things out there that we don't understand. I do believe that there's things out there we don't know, but I can believe in lots. I'm just not sold, but I'm curious, and I think curiosity opens the door for belief. And I don't want to discredit anybody else's belief, because my beliefs may not be the same as somebody else's, right? But I'm always interested in a mystery, because I think the mystery keeps you curious, and without curiosity, life is kind of boring. So I am definitely open to the curiosity of Bigfoot. I mean, we live in Wisconsin, Jackie Link's country, right? Not that far from us. It's their mascot, right? So if I run into a Bigfoot, I said this before, I'd be happy to smoke a cigar with them, open up some beef jerky, no problem at all, And I'd be
Feed me
interested
to him,
in,
apparently,
right.
for views.
I would be
fine.
very, very interested into doing a real Bigfoot hunt. I've heard things. I'm a country guy. I live in country. And I've heard things. I've seen things I just can't explore. I can't explain. And when you see something that is paranormal, your body lets you know it. You get this feeling like that's not supposed to happen, or that's not supposed to exist. And yet, you don't question yourself, because you were there when you experienced it. I've heard knocking from like a tree, like 3 knocks. I've heard a whooping noise in my backyard, and it's quite startling. And you stop for a second, and your mind tries to wrap around what did you just hear, and then you kind of explore all the angles it could be. And I do believe that it is very possible that there's things out there we don't understand. I've heard a goat man, and I saw something running. I mean, and I saw it, and it was so alarming to me that it took me a few seconds to even react because I was so startled about it. I just saw it, and I'm like, that just happened. So I'm curious about things that I don't understand. I think you have to be.
You said something that I just want to keep. I want to keep this quote, Gabriel. That was, "Without curiosity, life is boring." I really like that.
Absolutely.
I like that. That should be a t-shirt right there. I love that. That was really good. And I think that's what keeps us here, right? That's why we're all in this field and we're all doing what we're doing, is because we are curious, and because without curiosity it is boring. We all were just like,
touched on that.
yeah, we're just gonna believe everything we're told and everything we see and everything, like, whatever.
Right.
Life would be boring. So
Well, when we're on your program, John, we discussed by how welcoming this field is. Doesn't matter if you believe or not. A lot of people just are along for the ride because of the curiosity. And that's what I love about podcasting, especially the paranormal aspect of it. Cryptozoology. There's so much stuff out there. There could be people misremembering what they sing, or it could be somebody sing something for the first time that we just can't understand. And I find that our community is very open to accept people that don't believe. You don't have to believe. Just come on the journey, and I think that's what's wonderful about it. I've never heard anybody.
I think you see that
between us,
I think you see that a lot at like the conferences and stuff too.
Absolutely.
People come into the conferences because they like the idea of Bigfoot, or they like the idea of UFOs, and they get drawn in, and they start listening to a podcast, or start watching some documentaries, and it opens their mind. It's like,
absolutely.
Well, wait a minute, I didn't know that before.
Yeah.
And I took this as a joke, but there might be something to this. And like I said, though, it's easy for me to believe in Bigfoot because what I have seen with my own eyes. Because if that exists, there is no reason on earth why Bigfoot can't exist.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good escape for people to listen to podcasts like this, John, because there's so much stress out there, and if we could just take somebody's imagination just for a little while, I think everything we discuss is worth it. All these conferences, everybody's just looking for that little escape, and I think shows like yours, sir, help people do that.
I hope so.
Or you have people, and we have this happen too, when conferences, people come up to us and say, "Oh, you're a paranormal podcast. This is my experience." And they start telling you their experiences. And we know, and we've said this from like a long time ago, that, this was such a thing that a few years ago, before Ghost Hunters was on TV or whatever, like that, it was, "Oh, you're crazy because you're having these experiences. Oh, what's wrong with you?" And now we know, just from being, in this space, that lots of people have these experiences.
The same experience.
Like you're saying, how could all these people be having the same experiences and there's no ounce of truth to it? Because we know that when somebody's telling a story, there's at least a little ounce of truth there, whatever that story is. So, just the fact that we can also have this safe place for people to come and tell their stories is always very heartwarming too. I guess I don't know if that's what I wanted to say, but just a safe place for people to be able to share their experiences and tell their stories. And so I think at the end of the day, like, that's one of the most important parts is, for whatever happened to them, that was real for them, and we're able to listening and supportive. And luckily, the paranormal group, like Gabriel was saying earlier, the paranormal field or whatever, like we go to these, everyone, for the most part, is super welcoming and super great about just welcoming other in. So,
Well, John, let our audience know, how do we find you? Tell us about where we can find you, what kind of things you do, and any upcoming events.
What's next? I know what's next. I'm gonna cry because I can't be there, and JD keeps making fun of me for it.
Oh, well, this coming Saturday, October 4th, Ado, Ohio, I will be at the Ohio Bigfoot Jamboree. It is put on by Cryptids of the Corn, which is another great podcast, great group of guys. Chumming with the Spirits will be there. Nevermore Hollows will be there. Drunken Cryptids will be there. Several of my guests that I've had on my show will be there. And last year was a really good time. I just looked at the weather forecast. They're calling for like 78 degrees, sunny, no rain. So it should be a really good time this year. And so if you want to come out, meet the mullet, as I say, you can do that. Get your picture taken. And if you just want to listen to the show, if you can't make it to Ada, Myths, Monsters, and Mullets, I'm on most podcast players. YouTube and Spotify are my big hitters. You can also follow me on Facebook. I do have an Instagram, but I seriously only log into that thing like once every 2 months. So don't send me a message there. Get a hold of me on Facebook.
Instagram, I forget about it.
I do.
forget
It's
it
like
exists.
I've got so much other stuff going on. I don't need another social media platform. Hit me up on Facebook. Everybody's got a frickin' Facebook. Just go to Facebook and find me, okay? And if you find me on Facebook, I'll probably end up adding you on my regular Facebook page because I post on both, and it's just easier to get a hold of me that way. And if for some reason you're watching this and you think I'm not going to Facebook, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com.
Good. And people can share their stories with you there too, right? Is that something that you're still?
So the way
You're
I
still
run my
accepting.
show is a little different than most people. You contact me and tell me you have an encounter. Okay. All I want is to know what kind of encounter, where it happened, and do you want to be on the show? I don't want details because I go into each of my interviews as a conversation, and I want to react to your story honestly, and I want to be surprised. I want to have that honest, natural reaction to your encounter. And, have I had some people that have come on and done interviews that they didn't make it on the show? Unfortunately, yes. Because there just wasn't enough there to make an episode out of. I plan on releasing some of these really short ones that I've had as a combination episode, maybe a special episode. But yeah, that's how I run it. It's kind of like what we're doing right here. I showed everybody earlier. This was my notepad for Darkwoods Paranormal. I have a notepad in front of me, but that's just in case I need to write something down to remember later. I don't go in with any predetermined questions or comments or whatever. So, and I'm going to throw in some jokes every once in a while. We're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it funny. And it's going to be natural conversation, just like what we're doing right here.
Well,
I think
John,
those are the
from
best ways
Myths,
to do it.
Monsters, and Mullets, I thank you, sir, very much. You were a very good conversationalist. I enjoyed being on your show, and I enjoyed you having an honors, man. So thank you very much. Raven, you got anything else before we send off?
I just want to say again, thank you. I've heard a ton about you, of course, via Chumming with Spirits and JD. And I'm going to actually tell you, JD in the little comment section here said, invite him to come visit Bray Road. Just so you know, Parachum's supposed to jump out of my birthday cake that weekend. So we will be.
And he
I'm
will
not
wear
even-
a Speedo allegedly.
I'm not kidding. I'm really working on this to happen. It's November 15th, the weekend of November 15th. We will be visiting Bray Road again. So you are definitely invited if you want to make the drive all the way to Wisconsin. Come hang out on Bray Road with us. And if we could pay Parachum enough money, he might actually do it. I doubt it, but maybe I just need to give him all the banana whiskey because I think that's probably going to be the answer. Wait, I have it. It's all the banana whiskey. We're going to get him to jump out of it. Yes. It's going to happen. So I just want to say you have been an amazing guest, and I really do hope that everybody does listen to your show. You have a great show, and people follow you and like you and subscribe to everything that you have going on. And I hope that we can meet you in person. If it's not November 15th, I hope it's someday down the line. Definitely not this weekend, which makes me very sad, but hopefully it's someday soon. And just thanks for being on.
Not a problem. We'll do it again sometime. This was fun.
Let's do it again. No, it was fun. Like every weekend or whatever. Was this every weekend?
I do have a
Oh,
live
yeah.
show every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Next week I
Yeah,
have
so everybody,
Corky from the Paranormal War Room coming on. So
oh, awesome. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so everybody should then truffle shuffle for your 1K, I'm supposed to say. All right.
he's trying to get me to do the truffle shuffle. He
He
made
really
that up
is.
and posted it online. So that's been a running joke between JD and I. I keep telling everybody he's going to do the truffle shuffle. He keeps telling everybody I'm going to do it.
How much
I can
whiskey
guarantee
does it take for you both to do it?
it's not happening for me. JD will probably do it for, if you rub two pennies together because he's,
Ah.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Well, to our audience, thank you very much for watching today. Follow us on social, Darkwoods Paranormal on TikTok or Facebook, and visit darkwoodsParanormal.com for episodes, live dates, and investigations. If you enjoyed the show, tap follow, leave a quick review, and share the episode with the bravest person you know. Next Sunday, we open another door, one that might be creaking into the back of your mind for years. Until then, stay aware, stay curious, and like always, my friend, you stay safe out there. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.